Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Geekcast for everything geek media and geek culture. I am Michael. And today we have in the studio Momo.
Hey.
How you doing, Momo?
I'm pretty good. Kind of tired from this past weekend, but pretty good.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
So, we just went to Anime NYC. So we have a lot of other information, some geek news, geek media, new releases, but let's start out with that. Is that cool?
Yep.
Cool. So, you were at NYC, Anime NYC, and I don't know, what's your take on the event?
So Anime NYC is New York's premier anime convention. It's only in its third year, and it's already turning into Comic-Con, like kind of Comic-Con, what's it called? 2.0, I guess, because it's definitely not as big. But it is kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, this is a go-to event.
Okay.
They are still balancing out between non-industry panels and industry panels. I think this year they did a very good job with that. I personally was a volunteer for Anime NYC, and we have our crew every year. Oh, that's their... I'm sorry, it says Anime Frontier because that's their secondary anime convention. That's coming up next. So, Anime NYC, I was on crew, and the crew is all really chill. We have to deal with, like, we're the people that you see in the red shirts that are just, like, directing people everywhere because everyone asks us 700 questions, and there's a lot of times we don't know the answers. But, so...
I think it's cool how they're already doing 2020.
Oh, no. They have it set to where they're doing... They did 2017, they did 2018. As soon as 2019 was done, this, like, switch the media, we're going 2020.
Wow.
Because they have it... I'm not sure how far out they have the Javits contracted, but they do have it contracted out for a couple of years. And it is a recurring thing. A lot of their revenue comes from not only ticket sales but merch sales. They have donated lanyards that they give to everybody, and then they also have the lanyards, like the limited edition lanyards that are by year. And working in the merch booth, you will sell 20 of those lanyards for every one non-lanyard, and you will have 20 pre-orders for only a lanyard, as opposed to that one order that is more than just a lanyard or isn't a lanyard at all.
Wow.
And so they're pretty well sorted out for next year. As you may have seen, there was a thing for Anime Frontier, which is happening in Fort Worth, Texas. Speaking of Texas, if you by chance ran into RDC World at Anime NYC, then lucky you, because you probably got a cool picture of them. But in case you didn't, they do have their own convention called DreamCon, and that takes place in Waco, Texas. Waco's a little tricky because it's a really small airport, so what you do is you fly in from DFW, you fly into Dallas, or if you have any friends out in Houston, you fly into Houston and drive up there. But if you're flying into Dallas, they do have a shuttle that takes you directly from the Dallas airport to Waco and back. So that'll save you a little bit of money if you're just like...
A little bit.
I need to see RDC World, because also at DreamCon, RDC World, King Vader, Heavenly Controller, Caleb City, Long Beach Griffey, all of them. They always come up for for DreamCon, my bad. They always come up for DreamCon.
Now, they're all locals of Texas, correct? Or they're in California?
So, Vader, Long Beach Griffey, Heavenly Controller, and Caleb City are all local to California. But RDC World is local to Texas. So if you never get a chance to go out to California or to Texas to see them, definitely swing by DreamCon in Texas. So that way, like, put that in your 2020 plans, June 5th through 7th. Because it's just one big YouTuber party. We have the voice, or they have the voice of Naruto, Mel Flanagan. So if you missed her at Anime NYC, next chance would be DreamCon.
Wow. Now, what month is that in?
So that's in June.
Right. Yeah. And before I forget, for those that want something now, you have WinterCon, and then Big Apple is doing something for the first time during the winter as well. So it's not over. The year's not over yet.
A lot of people not done.
They feel like, well, Comic-Con's over. Anime, it's done. I'm fiending for more. I just got lunch money. Well, no, you can still spend that lunch money. You can still do it.
Anime, okay, so WinterCon is this weekend. And then what is Big Apple doing, and when is that?
December 14th.
Okay.
They got, and it's weird. This is their first, like, Christmas con or holiday con. Yeah, which is interesting. So, there you go. And people that missed Anime NYC or still in the moment, you could check out our Instagram and check out some of these videos of some amazing cosplayers. I'm always floored of just how creative people are. I think it's great.
If you're totally not into conventions because that's too many people, Sailor Boom is having a party in
December 6th?
December 6th, I want to say. Yeah. If we're curious about the exact same date, that's probably the date. But they're having something in December, as well as Sonic Boomboxes. They always have a like a New Year's party going on, so definitely check those out. There's always something to be going on, especially in New York.
Especially. But there's some things afoot in other areas. What is this? You said you already talked about Anime Next, correct?
Wait, I talked about Anime NYC, Anime Frontier, and DreamCon. Okay,
well, Anime Next, which is June 12th to the 14th in 2020 in Atlantic City Convention Center, New Jersey. We'll talk a little bit more about that on another episode, but that's something, if you're already planning where you're going to fly and drive and take the train. And then there's DerpyCon. Have you heard of that in Jersey, DerpyCon?
I feel like I've heard of that, but I don't think I've paid enough attention.
Right? I don't know much about this, but you could check that out. But that's going on.
If you do like to travel and you do need an additional place or additional convention for the summer, BlurredCon is always happening in July.
Oh,
hey.
Sailor Boom. I have it right here.
So when is it?
This is December 6th.
Yeah, December 6th.
And they're going to be in the studio promoting this. So check out that episode. That is coming soon. Aren't you tired? Of all the cons?
I am, but I'm not, because I just do cons for a living. Like, I'm a convention consultant, remember?
So you know what? Let's tell people, what is that? What is a convention consultant?
Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm a convention consultant, also an event consultant, event coordinator. So if you have any type of like nerdy event or anything that you want to put on, and maybe you just want to do it and you don't necessarily know how to do it, I'm usually the person to talk to. I'm the person that thinks of and lists out all the potential incidentals that you need to know about. what you need to know for a convention, how to put on a convention, because a lot of times conventions get expensive, especially because of the venue fee. People don't necessarily remember how to look for a cheaper venue or maybe a free venue, and so they kind of get overwhelmed. There's a lot of things that you need to do for a convention, for promotion, if you want to have guests, if you want to have vendors. There's just a huge list of things, and I'm the person that's like, okay, so here's your binder of list of things that you need to do, and depending on the dates that you want your convention, here's what else you need to think about, and here's pretty much your kind of solution person. I'm your make it happen kind of girl. So
now, how did you get into that? Because I know that you love this stuff, but who says one day I want to miss all the action and the fun?
So as a consultant, I actually don't get to miss all the action and the fun.
I don't believe that.
Oh, no, it's great, because with the so the reason I don't get to miss all the action and the fun is because I'm not fully staff necessarily.
Okay.
So if I do social media, then I'll be running around the convention. I will get to see the convention because I'm running around the convention, taking pictures. If maybe I'm just running, not necessarily staff, but like maybe I'm organizing volunteers. The person who is actually in charge of volunteers is more so running that, and it's more so a focus on training them and training them to know when to kick a volunteer, to not be afraid to kick a volunteer if they are doing something that is like damaging to the convention.
Now, when you say kick, what does that mean? Not literally.
Not literally. So it depends. Sometimes it means just they have to take away their badge, and they might be able to still go to the convention if they purchase a badge. And sometimes it also means banning them from the convention. And there are instances in which it is kind of severe, and so it's like they need to be removed from the convention itself.
Now, you were volunteering at Anime NYC also, right?
I was. So for that, it was just volunteering. I wasn't consulting for them. Anime NYC is run by Left Field Media, and they're like me, but a full team. So all they do is go around and create and run conventions.
So what was that like? And then we'll switch to something else, but what is that like helping out at a convention versus being just a fan and experiencing it?
So when you are a volunteer for a convention, you have to be kind of comfortable with, or semi-comfortable with, people randomly walking up to you and asking you a question. Like, you don't know them, they don't know you, they're just like, hey, where's this? And you have to kind of like know it's okay to not know. It's okay to ask another person.
Right.
And so, because like you get to interact with the fans from a fan view, and then you also get to interact with like vendors, artists, exhibitors. Sorry, vendors and exhibitors, same thing. But and also guests from like an in-between kind of view. So you can't necessarily fangirl the entire time or fanboy the entire time. You have to like, okay, I just met the voice of Deku. This is okay. I just met the creator of Gundam. This is okay. And meanwhile, on the inside, you're just like, oh my god, I just met the creator of Gundam. It's great. So you have to like kind of, there's that level of I need to remain calm. And then it's very interesting because you get to experience the convention, but you experience it differently and with a different kind of tired at the end. So when you volunteer, there's like a kind of I don't want to talk to anybody, I don't want to see anybody, I just want to go home, curl up with a nice cup of tea or coffee or whichever you drink, and just exist with my Netflix and call it a day. So
all right, so sitting where you were and kind of working it but still enjoying it, what were the highlights for you for this Anime NYC?
So one of the highlights is always the Anime NYC
No,
specific
this
merch.
particular one. Was there any things that just, oh my goodness, this happened? Can't wait for this or that.
Yeah, so as far as events go, the big, as you guys are probably aware of, Naruto is celebrating their 20th anniversary, and that's a big deal. So, like, expect kind of big things. Boruto already or is currently doing a thing where they're going back in time into Naruto, and it's kind of weird, but it's like, oh, okay. And then, what else? So my most excited thing is Megalobox, because that was the best thing. So for those who don't know, Megalobox is a sports anime, boxing focused, where like it's so far ahead into the future, and it's mechanized boxing, so it's actual fighters. However, they have gear to enhance the boxing, so the matches are much shorter. They usually only last like one round. Like I think at max it went 2 rounds or whatnot, and then you follow the main character on his like little underdog journey to meeting to fighting the greatest contender in Megalobox. And there's a couple twists about it that you're just like really, really want to, like, it really makes you respect the characters and like the sport of boxing itself, which is pretty like kind of interesting because it's an edited version of boxing, like it's an enhanced version of boxing, but then it like gets torn down to the original just regular boxing, and then it gets like built back up, and there's this whole thing. And the ending of it, so it's only 1 season right now.
Do you feel like stuff like this could happen in real life? Because it seems that there's a lot of content with that kind of robot boxing, robot gladiator. Now I know there's tons of people that do bots on a small scale, but do you think it's possible that this could actually happen?
So for something like Megalobox, I say no, because the injuries would be too great first off, so they wouldn't get too far.
Okay.
It wouldn't get too far, but if it were just robots, then probably it could go pretty far. But with Megalobox, the ending of it the conclusion was very solid. And so it wasn't like a kind of a taper off ending, like, oh, the possibilities are endless. It's like, no, this is a conclusion. And so what happens a lot is, at least in American cartoons and American shows, things get a conclusion and then they get a continuation, and the continuation isn't as good. However, with Megalobox, because of the story, because of the characters and everything, I feel like it's not going to be a bad thing. They've announced the secondary season, and like there's a continuation in, I believe it has a manga. It might be a continuation in the manga going forth, because even the manga ended. Like if there is a manga, it did end. It was a very conclusive ending to the season, like all points.
How close do they stay towards the manga?
I haven't read it because I'm not, like, I don't read too much manga, and I wasn't aware of the series until it came out as an anime. And so if I read something, I can't watch something. If I watch it, I can't read it. But Megalobox was a redo of a prior anime, but it was a prior anime, prior manga, but it's kind of like new hashed, so it's not the exact same characters, it's not really the exact same storyline. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, because there's so many different things that they could do with it, because there's not much that they did with it in the first place, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, it does.
And then, so hopping up to merch, Anime NYC's merch is always like amazing. No, like legit, they
You think they're like one of the best as far as merch?
It's probably the best merch that I've ever seen for a convention.
Interesting.
And then also in the same vein, so if you were fortunate enough to be a volunteer or a staff member even on Anime NYC, you did get a free crew shirt or a free staff shirt depending. And the shirts were sponsored by Hypeland. So I have a free Hypeland shirt.
Okay.
I was like, okay. For those that don't know, Hypeland is an upcoming anime-themed clothing brand right here in New York. And their latest collaboration, one of their earlier collaborations was for Bleach. Their latest collaboration is Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter, for whomever says it like that. And so when they're announcing a part 2 to their Hunter x Hunter collab, and they are also announcing for January 2020 release a Naruto collab. One of the items in their Naruto collab is a Naruto rug. So it's like a seal, and in the middle is Naruto just eating ramen.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I kind of want that, because that looks cool. But I'm not that far into Naruto like that. Like, I know anime sacrilege, but I don't really care for Naruto, because when I first saw it, my brother explained it to me. I was like, what's this? And he's like, okay, so they're ninjas, and he's training to be like the best ninja. And like right as he was saying that, they were screaming. I was like, ninjas are supposed to be quiet, aren't they? They're supposed like stealth. And then I saw Sakura for the first time. I was like, oh, she must be like either the main character or like one of the main characters. And his reply was, yeah, but she's pretty useless. She's a healer, but she doesn't do much. And I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. I don't need.
Well, how is that with the dialogue? Do you find that the animes are a little offensive just because it's usually coming from a different culture, right? Talk about Japanese animation, mores, different senses of humor. Does it translate here?
Well, some of the humor doesn't translate as well, so it needs like so you'll see if you do like a dubbed version or like there might be notes in the subbed version that it's like, oh, this is the joke or whatnot. Like it might either explain the joke or it might just tell a different joke that would transfer to an international audience or an American audience.
Right.
However, the tropes that are like used when or like the way certain characters are written as like, it's like, okay, this is the norm or this is the expectation for like Japanese characters. Like, I don't believe that really, because Sailor Moon exists and the entire shoujo genre like that exists. So like it's very possible to write characters that aren't this kind of like la da 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 type thing. Like it makes me so mad because though I don't watch Naruto, I know the character Hinata is stronger than Naruto and could in fact beat him if her character was ever given proper development, because she has an ability that was used. So she and another character, Neji, have an ability that were used. They're the only two that necessarily have that ability because it's from their, like it's a family generational type thing. And so Neji, this is, if you've seen anything about Naruto, this is not a spoiler. Neji dies. And Neji is known for his the way his brain works and like how his strategy and everything. And the entire time Hinata just like doesn't try, like she's not shown to learn any type of strategy. She's not really shown to learn how to properly and fully use the extent of her abilities. And it really bugs me because in Boruto, the sequel to Naruto, Naruto's son is Hinata's son, so he has her ability and he can use her ability, and it's so frustrating to me because he's using her ability how she should have been using her ability.
So do you feel it's a little male chauvinism going on in the writing here? That's what you're trying to say without saying it.
Well, no, because like that happens a lot, but there are characters
within animation.
That happens a lot within anime, and there are characters that have proven that the writer or a writer has the ability to write female characters. Like Chi-Chi and Bulma from Dragon Ball Z are very strong female characters. However, Chi-Chi's entire like story and development and everything gets sidelined because her main goal, like her main character thing, was to marry Goku. No. So like in the early Dragon Ball series, you see her fighting in tournaments and everything, and there was a tournament in which she met up with Goku and like directly had to fight him. The first time she didn't really remember his power or whatnot, so he did just kind of like knock her out the tournament out the arena by like flicking his hand, and the force of the wind just kind of blew her out of the arena. Mm-hmm. But she was not his first fight, so she had to fight her way to him. And like a lot of people forget, Chi-Chi is pretty strong. A lot of times if there's a fight in which Chi-Chi is involved or they're trying to calm her down so she doesn't fight somebody, it's because she's really about to mess them up. And then Bulma, you have Bulma who's the genius and makes all the technology that they use. The locator for the Dragon Balls, she made that, and then they went to Namek and she adjusted it for the Namekian Dragon Balls. And so like then they went back to Earth and she readjusted it back. So she's not like, they're not any type of timid or like weak or anything, or if they are weak, it's in a different aspect. So there's ways like they can write female characters.
Now mind you, I'm quiet because I'm not familiar. I have not seen it, so I got not much to say. And we're almost out of time, so before we go, all right, so we talked about Naruto, or some people say Naruto, you know, that kind of thing. So, but I would say check that out and please leave comments. I'm really curious to see what people think about that, especially, you know, the world is changing and certain things needed to change, certain things are not norms. As far as, I'm just really curious how content creators all around the world now compensate, maneuver around that, and make those some necessary changes, and some of them might not be. I'm really curious about that. We spoke about cons today, specifically Anime NYC. We'll do another episode specifically letting people know, like a calendar. Go to geekcaster.com. Go to Geekcaster on Instagram. You can check out some of the content from the cosplayers that were amazing. And we'll show stuff in the next couple episodes so people don't miss things. Is there anything in particular that you want to buy at WinterCon or Big Apple before the end of the year? Because you see everything. You see what is coming in. You see people packing up. Like, anything you're trying to get.
I don't have anything particular. I normally just kind of like, when I'm there, I'm just like, this. But as far as, because I try not to pay attention to who's going and who's not going, because at that point, I'm spending more money than I need to. I just kind of allocate for the day, and it's like, okay, spending this much, that's as far as it goes.
Cool. So what's your social media?
So my social media is ArtGirlMomo, and then that's how you can find me, or you can find me on manymediums.com if you want me to consult for your convention or for your event. And yeah, that's it.
Cool. And you could find me at Michael7Michael on Instagram. Of course, go to Geekcaster on Instagram. You're watching Geekcaster. Hopefully you're watching us on cable. If not, on geekcaster.com, where if you like what we do, you can donate. Go to geekcaster.com for all our content. See you soon.